Hello, welcome once again to the bike show. Forgive the hat and coat, I'm on the road in Western France, where it is currently rather cold. Because I'm looking to film at some world-class bike builders, because this country has a very strong custom scene. Unfortunately, crossing borders in Europe, or indeed back to South Africa, is pretty much a no-no at the moment. So I'm trying to improvise. Hopefully I'll have some lovely bikes to show you in the coming weeks. This week though, we'll be taking a look at the issue of second-hand tyres, and we'll check out the latest electric bike news coming out of America. But before that, let's take a look at a mode of transport that, as a South African, you've probably never given serious consideration, but perhaps you should.
I'm sitting up here at the minute in a bit of a conundrum because South African motorcyclists are really rubbing me the wrong way. Not for any bad reason, besides they don't like maxi-scooters. What is wrong with you? Yamaha sold nearly 300,000 of the T-Maxes over the past few, well, since 2001. But I'm not here, perching on this ladder, to spout about the T-Max. I have my personal favourite, which is over here. Come and have a look at this. It is called the Kimco Ak-550, another maxi scooter, but this time from Taiwan. If you didn't know, Kymco stands for, wait for it, Kwang Yang Motor Company. So I think Kymco's a better option. Now normally at this time we say, come on, let's get out there and ride and see what it feels like. I'm not doing that. I've had this for over a week, so I'm going to tell you why this thing is so brilliant.
Well, basically, it's just about unsurpassed comfort. Just twist and go, and away you go. With surprisingly good performance.
Which comes from the 550.4cc parallel twin with double overhead cam, 8,000 fuel injection, which you can't even see because it's in the way in the bodywork, but it does have a MotoGP style crossplane crank, which sounds fantastic out the exhaust, much better than the T-Max.
So, with 55 horsepower and 57 Newton meters plus 226 kilograms, it's a bit heavy. How fast will a fast scooter go? Well, we recently took them to a broken down fairground to speed test them against the opposition, the T-Max, and here's the figures.
So if those figures don't sound too impressive, don't forget we are at 1,500 metres above sea level in Johannesburg, which means we get a removal of 18% of normal aspirated power, which is a bit annoying. So yes, they would be quicker at the coast, and the answer to that, bolt a turbo on it. Now wouldn't that be ace?
Still, it is quick around town and super stable with its 1.5 metre plus wheelbase and fat 15-inch wheels, where up front, you'll also notice, look at those Brembo radial brakes. Tremendous those, and definitely a bit sharper than the ones found on the T-Max.
I love the way you can ride these things one-handed as well, with no clutch. Perhaps that should be, how's that, a new form of racing? Can you imagine one-handed racing round a racetrack? Hundreds of these, and you can only use your right hand. Might help Marquez. Oh no, it is his right arm, isn't it? I'll forget that.
Look, the Kimco Ak-550, obviously, doesn't have as much equipment as the Yamaha, like the Yamaha has electric adjustable screen, and it has heated seat 3-position. This does have heated grips, but One thing where the Kymco absolutely trounces the Yamaha is this middle bit of not one, but two, but three LCD screens. It's got Nudu interface, which you download as an app and then Bluetooth it to the bike. Then you've got GPS. You can talk to people, weather stations, all in. So you don't need to buy GPS. That saves you an awful lot of money, guaranteed to work. And of course, there is under-seat storage. If it's activated like this. And you can carry a plethora of things like this. One, plastic stick, very handy. A Nottingham Forest hat from Brian Clough days. Remember those? Half a koala bear's head, very handy if you like music. A solar-powered frog, who doesn't want that under the seat? A furry toy, bless him. Not that, look at that, an exact model of the Kimco Ak-550, which I will be sending to Matt after this so he can play with it in the snow in France. Better not throw that. And last of these, a giant Yamaha Speedboat. Now, if you can get all that under the seat, that is one impressive system.
So why do they not sell like 250,000 T-Maxes did in Europe, for example?
Well, look, I think it's the price. 159,000 Rand will buy you this Kimco Ak-550, which I believe is an absolute bargain for this machine. When you consider the Yamaha is 215,000 Rand. Ouch. That does mean you can buy 3 Kimco 125 scooters at 20 grand each for your kids. Impressive. Look, this is the most perfect form of personal transport you could ever hope for, especially around Johannesburg. Ease of use, everyday commuter, and don't forget you can go touring. Anyway, sad times, because after a week I have to return it to Line-X, where, if you're bothered, you can ride this and the T-Max, so I highly recommend a visit to them. Meanwhile, I'm going to find 159,000 Rand and buy this tomorrow.
Like Bill, I'm a fan of maxi-scooters, and I think anyone who's ever actually had a go on one feels pretty much the same way too. They are much quicker than you expect, more nimble too, yet also reassuringly stable, well built, full of useful gadgets and storage space, and just so easy to use. Does that mean I think they'll find a lot of buyers in South Africa? No, I don't. The sort of non-biker with a good salary who often buys these things in Europe won't consider a maxi-scooter as a commuter in South Africa. They're cool and, like the famous beer, reassuringly expensive over there. In South Africa, they're not cool and they're scarily expensive. Kymco itself is a company that has made its name selling scooters, and a new model they've recently announced might sell better in South Africa's major cities. It's the F9. It's electric and it has a range of about 130 kilometres and a very useful top speed of 120 k's an hour. It only weighs 107 kilos and it carries its own fast charger, which should see you manage a full recharge in 2 hours. And to keep it more interesting to ride than the many other electric scooters on the market, it has a 2-speed automatic transmission. I'm not sure if you have any control over when it changes, but even if not, it should make the F9 more interesting than most other small scooters. And it also doesn't hurt its chances that it's one of the best looking electric scooters I've seen so far. Price is not known, unfortunately, but it should be available later this year. As should the Revo Nex electric motorbike, which is a subsidiary of Kymco. I saw this unveiled as a concept at the EICMA show at the end of 2019, and it will also apparently go on sale this year. This naked bike, like all electric bikes, apart from the South African Blanche designed Hypertech electric bike, has no clutch. But it does have a 6-speed transmission of sorts, so you can swap gears or you can have it full auto. Top speed is meant to be about 210 k's an hour, but there's no word as yet on the battery size or the electric motor, so range also remains a bit of a mystery. There's plenty of the usual electronic safety aids like traction control, ABS and rear wheel lift control. There's some top components as well, including Olin suspension, Brembo brakes and Metzler Racetech tyres. There's the usual range of riding modes, except they're not called riding modes, they're called AMP, A-M-P, which stands for Adaptive Machine Personality. The modes, instead of the usual sport, tour, road, that sort of thing, are now poised, assertive, bold and extreme. I know, the bike looks good, sounds interesting and all that, but now all I want to do is set fire to it and see how its machine personality adapts to that. Back after this short break.